Wamai chucking these magnets at me from outside? Behave yourself. Unbelievable. Hey up troops, it's A Littleton here again with another video, and this time we're going to be looking at Wamai. Wamai is one of only a handful of operators with utility based around projectile capture in Siege, and he is probably my most played defender overall in the time that I've been playing Siege. For me, he's a bit more versatile than Jaeger. He has more ways of capturing projectiles than a Rooney, and I think he might sit at the top of the tree overall in terms of strength of projectile capture. Wamai gets a total of 6 magnets that he can throw out during the round. However, he only starts with 1, and he gets an additional magnet that he can use every 40 seconds after that. So you just got to be a bit careful with Wamai. You can't die straight away in the beginning of the round because you're not going to be able to then use the rest of the magnets. He's a bit unlike Jaeger where he can put his 3 ADSs down and just disappear for the round. Wamai needs to be a bit more conscious about staying alive to get the most out of his utility. So just for a change, we're going to keep things exactly the same. We're going to start with the loadout first, the basics of the utility, and then progress onto some tips and tricks, and then onto some ranked map examples. As I always say, I'm doing Wamai because somebody requested it. If there's an operator that you want, get it in the comments below. I'll add it onto the list, and we'll make sure that that's done as soon as possible as well. Probably enough of me waffling on as usual. Let's get stuck into it. So just for a change, let's get started with Wamai's loadout. And it's an interesting conversation to be had here, to be honest, because the AUG and the MP5 have both got the benefits. I don't personally think one is better than the other. It's just what comes down to preference on your side. The AUG's damage is way higher at 42 instead of 30, but the fire rate is lower at 720 instead of 800. For me, I always use the MP5. Well, I'll say I generally use the MP5K because of the 1.5 times scope. I can't get enough of that scope on defense. I think it's amazing. I understand why people use the AUG because it really does pack a punch for a defensive gun, like I say, at 42 damage. So it's completely preference. I usually rock the MP5K just because I feel like you can hold better angles with the 1.5. But now these all the 1.5, all the one-time scopes are available on the AUG. I might start running the AUG a little bit more, maybe. We'll see. But for me, neither one's better than the other. They both have the benefits. Pistol-wise, I always take the Keratos because it creates lines of sight really easily. You can create holes in soft walls. You can't make rotates with it because the pillars of the soft walls still remain in, like the struts. However, you can make lines of sight really easily with the Keratos, so I recommend taking that. I don't really use the P12. I don't think I've ever used that with Wamai. And when it comes down to the 2 secondaries downstairs, on 2 secondary gadgets, I usually rock impacts. But again, as I always say with the secondary gadget, it's site-specific. If you know you've got a mute or a smoke or someone who can make rotates easily, take the proxies because that's going to help your team more than having impacts spare. So again, depends on the site and depends what operator composition you've already got in place. But for me, I go MP5, Keratos, and impacts usually. So to run through the basics of Wamai's gadget, Wamai throws a projectile capture device called a magnet at any surface. It will stick to anything in the game, whether it's lamps, like so, or anything you want to throw it at. Walls, ceilings, floors, it will stick there. Once you see it hit the surface, it'll start activating and it'll show you the area of effect. You see the area of effect there, it's going to catch any projectile that comes into that range. The area of effect has recently actually been nerfed. It used to be bigger than that. You can now see the area of effect. It's probably like sort of 3 to 4 meters either side of the magnet. The magnet will only activate when you throw it on the wall or when it hits the surface. And when that inner circle reaches the outer circle, that's when you know it's activated. If you don't use the area of effect indicators, it's whenever that flicks up and does that. That's when you know it's ready. That will then catch any projectile that comes into its area of effect. Anything from flashes, grenades, ace salmers, gridlocks, spikes, anything that gets thrown in that direction. The key thing to remember with Wamai's magnet is that it doesn't stop the thing it catches from actually doing what the thing was going to do. So what I mean by this is a Jaeger ADS will snag a grenade out of the air, and that's the end of the grenade. An ADS will snag an ace Selma charge out of the air, and that's the end of the ace Selma charge. A Wamai magnet will capture what gets thrown in its area of effect, but whatever gets thrown in the area of effect will still will still detonate or will still go off. So I'm going to use Thermite as an example just next to me here. Thermite is going to throw the smoke. It's going to go into the Wamai magnet, but the smoke will still go off. The smoke will still activate, as you can see there. So the reason I bring that up is because if you put 2 magnets next to each other like this, and the first magnet catches a frag grenade, if that second magnet is within the frag grenade splash area, within the damage area, then that magnet's going to get destroyed as well as this magnet. So you've got to think about where you place them. It's mainly only explosives that you have to worry about with that. So if this catches a flashbang, it isn't going to destroy this when it goes off, and the same with the smoke. I'll demonstrate that again with thermite. One of the magnets will catch the smoke, and the other one will be completely unaffected. So that one will catch the smoke, and the other magnet remains in situ there. So you've got to think, when you're trying to capture frag grenades, you've got to make sure you put them out of range of the frag grenades damage, the sort of damage area, so the other magnets remain intact. Otherwise, they're all going to get destroyed. So just to give you one more example about Wamai catching things, but they'll still go off, we're going to use gridlock here. We'll throw the Wamai disc or Wamai magnet at the wall there. We're going to take control of gridlock and throw some spikes towards it. The magnet, they look massive in gridlock's hand. The magnet will capture them when it goes in the area of effect, but as we've discussed, they will still go off. So you've just got to be really aware of that when playing Wamai, is just know that it will capture the stuff, but whatever it catches will still then activate. Now this might seem super obvious, but I'm going to say it. Make sure you place your magnets out of sight of the attackers. Now, bear in mind, when using this area here in piano, the attackers have got the angle of the piano door here that they can see into, and they've also got the window here. So when you're placing a magnet, what you don't want to be doing, firstly, obviously, is putting the magnet there, because the attackers, when they're coming down there, are just going to shoot the magnet off the wall. Secondly, you've got to think about the other lines of sights the attacker are going to have. So you think that might be all right there. That can also get destroyed from the window. So just get a little bit creative when you play. I always feel like I say that. Get creative. But place it in somewhere like this. Know that the enemy is not going to see that from anywhere. When they're outside the door here, or if they're out the window, they're not going to see that magnet. So make sure you don't make it easy for the attackers to destroy the magnets. Obviously, you might have Twitch drones roaming around, or Flores, whatever it might be. So you've got to make sure you hide them. Like, let's just say, for example, on the balcony here, that's rubbish. Anyone who's outside the balcony here, waiting to swing, is going to see that. Can I pick that up? Yes, I can. So here, the only other line of sight you've got to worry about is just this door. So it would just, even there would be ideal. Just also remember, when you're placing them, you don't want to screw your teammates over too much. You know, if you've got somebody playing in this area here, make sure you place it as far away as possible, because that grenade is still going to get dragged up to that area. Don't sort of put your Wamai disc down on the floor here if you've got somebody playing here, because they're still going to have to move away from the frag grenade if it gets dragged towards it. Try and keep it out of reach of your team as well. One of the biggest tips I can give you when it comes to playing Wamai is learn the area of effect. Let's say you're trying to protect Smoke's shield that's at the back of Elbow there in Oregon, and you throw a Wamai magnet at the wall and you throw it like this. That's the perfect place you can place it, so it goes to the edge of the door. Anything that comes through that door is always going to get caught. If, for example, you place it like this, and the grenade comes through the left-hand side of that wall, or even worse, you throw it higher up so it covers even less, and there's a grenade that comes through, say, into E-box from there, it's not going to get caught by the magnet because it's out of its area of effect. You can see the area of effect just there again. So the biggest tip I can give you is learn the area of effect, know it off by heart, or even if you don't want to learn it, when you place it, make sure wherever you place the magnet that it's covering what you want to cover. Like, there's no point in putting that there. So just make sure you know that wherever you put your magnets, you're covering the area that you want to cover. You may notice I've swapped to playing Ace here just to show you that Wamai is an absolute direct counter to Ace. With Ace now being probably the most meta hard breacher in the game, Wamai can place magnets in certain places that's just going to burn his Salma charges. So with Wamai, I've placed a magnet in the corner of Closet here. Now, as an attacker, you're generally never going to drone... You will drone Closet just to make sure there's like no Capcan traps and stuff, but you're never really going to look up there, or not very often anyway. So when you're outside and you want to breach that wall in Closet, you throw that in there, and the Wamai magnet swallows up that Ace charge, and the Ace charge just destroys because there's no soft wall for it to fall onto there. So with areas like this, you can actually deny Ace Salma charges in loads of different maps as well. You can do it on a pretty creative way on Chalet. You can do it on Bakery and Cafe. You can do it here. There's a ton of different places you can put Wamai magnets down to screw over the Ace. So just another quick example of what Wamai can catch. Any Gon 6 that comes in the direction as well. You can see we've got a Finker here with a Gon 6. Jaeger will also capture that Gon 6. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it will still go off. So if you've got another magnet right next to it, it will destroy it. However, the area of effect of a Gon 6 is quite small, so you don't have to worry about them being too close like you do with frag grenades. Now, whilst who's the best projectile denial capture operator person thing in Siege continues, I'm just going to highlight something Wamai can do that Jaeger can't. Wamai can completely deny Capitao, whereas Jaeger's ADSs do nothing for Capitao's fire and smoke bolts. So we've got, we've already got the crossbow out. If we aim toward, well, in the area of effects of the magnet with Capitao here, the magnet will capture the firebolt. As we've already discussed, it'll still go off, so you've just got to be careful where you place it. Mind your toes, Capitao. So yeah, just one thing to think about there. You see it sometimes in higher elo games where people will ban Wamai and take Capitao to take rafters on Clubhouse. But yeah, there's anything that Capitao can throw, whether it's smokes or the firebolts, will get denied by the magnets, which will go completely unaffected by a Jaeger ADS. Right then, let's go through some examples then. First thing, as we always know, though, is shoot the radio. That's that in the mud. So the first place I'm going to show you is actually what I showed you earlier on when it's countering ace, is to get a magnet up in this corner here. Now, this isn't going to counter thermite or Habana, it's only going to counter ace, but with most people playing ace in terms of hard breach these days, it is going to do a job there. So if Habana or thermite come this way, that isn't going to do much unless they try and throw smokes or flashes. The other place I like to put one on this site is just here. And I've got one spare. It's just there. The reason for that is normally you're going to have your ADSs in this area here. So what the attackers want to do is smoke off at it, because that's generally where they're going to be held from there. So if they can smoke off this area here and top wide stairs, they're going to be able to get into the default plant area. So putting a disc there or a Wamai magnet there is going to stop the smoke from covering this area. The smoke will still go off, so you'll still be blocking top white. However, anyone holding attic is still going to see anyone be able to come through the breach there. And obviously the smoke is going to end sort of here. So anyone who goes towards default plant is going to be seen as well. The other one on Oregon top floor is to try and at least prevent the grenade that's inevitably going to come through from Maverick to get rid of the denial that's on the wall. If the Maverick trick it, there's not much you can do, but sometimes you get a lazy Maverick, that is me as well, by the way, where they'll just try and cut a hole in the wall and just throw something through to destroy the utility. If you work a plan out with your Cade, and you can get the Cade to place your claw in a certain space, and then you can put your magnet, say, like down here, but the Cade claw goes up here, so it still gets both walls. There is a way you can do it so the grenade gets sucked into, like, the opposite place to where the Cade claw is, so it can protect it, but you have to team up with your Cade in order to make that happen. Obviously, if your Cade claw goes at the top here, and you put your magnet next to it, when the grenade goes off, it's still going to destroy the claw anyway. So we're on Oregon downstairs now, and Wamai can actually do a decent job of protecting smoke and his shield that's played at the back of Albo there. So your first one's just going to go on the corner of the door. It's going to protect all of the door. The next one is going to go just out of the line of sight of the first one. So if a grenade does come in, it's not going to get destroyed and it's around the corner. Then the next one you can put this side as well. Now the enemies can see this, but it's still another one that's out of the way. It is quite well hidden. The smoke's going to have to know if the grenade gets hit there, they're going to have to back off and go to, behind the line of sight. And you've got to make sure the shield is at the back of Albo as far as it can go, so that grenade won't destroy the shield. But there's 3 projectiles that can be caught, all without destroying another magnet if it is a grenade. A really solid way of protecting your smoke, and me who normally plays smoke on Albo, I'll be thanking you forever. Another place that Wamai is really strong at holding is Pixel on Cafe. Now, if you don't know what Pixel is, it's this sort of square area here. This side of the door, but behind this pillar, this area here. It's a really, really strong position to be held. You are going to get flashed and smoked and naded from these 3 windows, from the double door and from behind the minibar as well. It's a really unforgiving place to play, but it's a really strong position if you can hold it. I've told you on a couple of other videos, just please be careful from the top of the window here on the wide stairs window. You normally get some goblins who just open the corner of the window there and just hold this area, waiting for you to show you back like this here, so just be careful of that. So the places I throw my magnets here are actually on the lamp, which is really well hidden. You can throw it in the back of the chair seat like this, and the enemies can't see that from the double door or from the windows, or you can even throw it on the back of the chair here. Obviously, as soon as one magnet's gone, I don't recommend throwing all 3 at once. You want to throw them periodically so they don't all get destroyed by one grenade that lands in the middle of there. But as the sort of pressure mounts, you can put more and more magnets down. You get a total of 5. So you can put them down where you want to. Just be careful, hold it. Don't over peek. I think I've said this on a previous video. If you can hold this position here later into the round, your team's probably going to win the round. So yeah, don't over peek. If you know someone's on this window, just chill. If you've got an easy frag, by all means stretch, but I'll say it again, you're much better off to your team on defense by staying alive rather than risking your life to get a kill. And that I firmly believe that in Siege. So yeah, don't over peek, use the magnets to your advantage, just be careful of the wide stairs window, and you should be sweet. Downstairs on Cafe now, and Wamai is also pretty strong at holding Bakery itself, or just the prep window. Bakery, again, is quite a bit like Pixel, is quite an unforgiving task to hold it, because you're going to get 2 or 3 people outside Bakery, and there's at least one who's going to come from Small Bake through the window there. Now, granted, it could be a wide stairs push, but generally, depending on what elo you're in, the majority of attacks come this side. Just one thing I'll say quickly about this area is if you can get a Wamai magnet in the corner there, that'll protect that door. One, it's going to protect you if anyone's throwing throwing nades at you. However, that is a really good one. Touching on what we spoke about on Oregon, like catching the ace charges, that is really, really good for catching the ace charges where they try and open prep wall as well. So that's that there. The other place I like to throw one at times is just here on the back of the counter as well. And the reason I throw that there is because you're going to catch an ace charge here with this one. If they aren't nading behind the counter, when ace goes to throw his Selma at the wall here, that's also going to capture a second Selma, and he's only got one left. So you can actually do ace pretty dirty with Wamai on this side downstairs, but you can also use that there to protect yourself, obviously. Now, this is unrelated to Wamai, but I see people die here all the time. There's an angle that you can get on the car. I died to it myself quite a bit, and now I'm just like conscious to never die from it again. There's an angle you can get by standing on the black car where you can see the corner of the bakery there. You can see the screen. I'll just shoot the screen out. But you can also see the edge of the bakery counter there. So if I just go over there quickly, you'll see the bullet holes. You can see I've shot the screen. You see the bullet holes here. So peeking this angle towards bakery door is not a safe place to be. Someone can peek above that van and get an angle on you there. It's nothing related to Wamai, but just be careful with it. Obviously, the screen was there, so that you can get peeked from that same angle and this angle. So if you can play here, you're a bit safer. Obviously, you can do that. You've just got to hold that angle. But yeah, you can place the Wamai magnets wherever you like around here just to keep you safe. It's a massive choke point. If you can survive playing bakery and get a couple of kills, it's absolutely unreal. But you are going to have 755,000 pieces of utility thrown at you to clear you out from behind this counter. Probably my favourite place to play Wamai is rafters on Clubhouse when defending CC and cash, but as always, first thing we do is shoot the radio. That's the radio in the mud. Right, onto rafters we go. So one thing I want to mention here before we actually start talking about Wamai himself is don't put a rotate here. You see so many people put a rotate here. Whenever an attacker takes control of rafters, which, being completely honest, is probably inevitable, the guy on rafters is just sort of delaying as much time as possible. Don't make it easy for the attackers to get into sight with the rotate. If you use Wamai's Capitao, you can make holes with 3 shots in the wall. You can make a line of sight all the way across. Just like that. So if you need to, you can peek the breach once it's open from here. So in terms of your disc placement or magnet placement here, you want to put one, shoot the radio. You put one bang over where it says garage there above the door. You can also then put one on the sort of next doorway as such at the top. That's also then, if a grenade hits this, it won't destroy this because it's like sort of protected from the other side of the wall. And then when you're up here, you're playing around here, you've got to be super careful if the breach gets open. You don't want to be getting domed from the window. This is panel 1, this is panel 2, and this is 90. So you can play panel 1 aggressively on the door whilst the breach is closed. As soon as the breach is open, you've got to retreat back to panel 2. This wall will be reinforced, so you get the cover from there as well. You get the cover from here. What I then tend to do is throw a disc into the... I keep calling them discs. I don't know why I keep doing that. Throw a magnet into the window there, which is going to capture any smokes that people throw through. They quite often try and smoke this door to cut smoke off across the top red to get to the default plan here. And then the next disc I have, I just tend to throw either back down onto the doors if these get destroyed by grenades or gun sixes or whatever it might be. I then either throw them onto panel 1 right on the corner so they're as far away from me as possible on panel 2. Or I'll throw them back down onto the door itself. As the round progresses, you've got to watch getting pushed from bottom garage. And also you've got your 2 breaches here that people are probably going to open as well. If you do play rafters and Habana opens a line of sight or Maverick opens a line of sight in the corner of the garage wall here, please don't be that rafter player that hears the Habana pellets go off and then just walks around like this and goes, alright, yeah, I'll probably get a kill here. Because 9 times out of 10 that angle favours Habana, who's already going to be holding that as you come around here. So just don't give your life up. Rafters is probably the most important place to hold when you're defending CC cache, so yeah, be super careful up here. Make sure you get as many magnets as you can out on the door. But again, as I've said before, don't put them all there at once. Put them there progressively throughout the round. Good luck. We're on to Chalet now, as you're probably starting to see a pattern emerging. Wamai is really good at holding high traffic, busy areas. So another one is the piano double door on Chalet. With this, you've got these rafters here, which are really going to be your friend. The attackers coming up here are not going to see the other side of the rafters, and you can get a magnet or 2, depending on, obviously, if it's a frag grenade, it's going to destroy both magnets. But you can get a couple of magnets there, which are going to catch flashes, gun sixes, and other bits of utility. The other obvious one is just this side of piano door, but what you can do here is you can place it in the middle, which is going to enable you to capture half of piano door. Obviously, no one's going to be throwing utility from this side of the door, because if they do, they'd be dead by here, or you playing piano, or whatever it is. So it's going to cover the half of the door that matters, but it's also going to cover piano window as well. And it's as far away from possible from the piano. From here, you can hold a couple of nasty angles where you can see them and they can't see you. Granted, it's only their ankles you're going to be able to see. but you can see somebody there before they're going to be able to see you. Yeah, it's another high traffic area. Chuck maybe one over on the balcony if you need to on the mezzanine. But yeah, use these rafters to your advantage and make sure you can cover the door and the window with one there as well. I also recommend at the start of the round, especially on this site if you can, just go and chuck one over by solarium doors, solarium windows, because 9 times out of 10 on this site, I normally pop one here, 9 times out of 10 on this site, there's something coming through the windows or something coming from the stairs as well. But yeah, this is another popular high traffic area where Wamai is just really good at holding. You just got to be careful of a few different angles here. You're going to have to be careful with the balcony, the window, the double door, and this if the breach gets opened. So yeah, good luck with that. This is another one of my favourite spots to play Wamai, and it's top main on Villa. We've actually swapped over to the prox mines for now, instead of the impacts. The first prox is going to go under that drinks trolley there on the study door. Just going to let you know if anybody comes in study. The next prox mine is going to go down on the bottom of the main stairs. Now, there's a couple of places you can put this here. Sometimes I like to try and tuck it up here. The only problem is that if someone comes in through the front door, by the time they get to here, it's glaringly obvious it's there. So what I'll do, it gives you a bit more of a later notice, but I'll put it on there. And you can't see that as you're coming around here then. So by the time you get to here, it's then going off. So you've just got to be cautious that you're not going to hear about anything until the enemy gets to here. So you've just got to be aware of that. The first, next Wamai Magnet Spots goes here. Obviously, if a grenade gets caught on that, it's going to destroy the mine. But, you know, it is what it is. And the next one I'll put down at the bottom here. Now, that's going to protect you from the window and from study door. So you can play here. You can either play the top of the stairs and hold study. And you can be protected in terms of getting naded and the alert that somebody's underneath you here from the top. Or you can play down the bottom here. And you can hold, this is one of my favourite angles to hold, by the way, is just this angle here. For anyone coming from art, that's about head height there. Anyone coming from art there is just going to be peeked off the face of the earth with this like kind of pixel peek around the stairs. And then if you do get naded from above there, there's one on the door there. Also, anyone coming in study, obviously you're going to hear that go off. The next thing I would do is try and protect the guys who are going to be holding aviator door. And you can put another Wamai magnet behind this pillar so it can't be peeked from the window. Like you can't see that from there. So that's going to catch any grenades that come through this door that's getting thrown towards AV there. And then just play on the stairs. Like I say, you can play the top off and watch study, or you can play the bottom off and use your prox alarm to listen to when study's coming in. But as and when the round carries on, if you can hold main for as long as possible, if you have control of this area of the map, you're usually doing quite well. We're on to Trophy Statue now on the same map, Villa, and you're going to get some attackers who've watched a lot of Zeronic or a bit of Ralphie and are going to line up the grenade that comes, you stand on like the roof over in this direction, southwest, and the grenade comes through the skylight, bounces here and sort of lands in this sort of area here, and will destroy the wall denial or will down anyone or kill anyone who's playing in this area. It depends if what elo you're playing in, if anyone's going to know that, but if you just throw a magnet in that area there, that's going to stop anything coming through that window. You can't even see it's there. It is a bit of a... It can be a waste if somebody doesn't know that trick. However, the amount of times that I've thrown it there and it works and it just catches a nade before they go off, and it really throws the attackers off because they've got no idea that you know that that was going to happen. But yeah, just be careful of that. It's something that I think of doing sometimes, and it works quite well. So there we have it. There's Wamai. Probably the most versatile projectile capture operator in Siege, and someone who I play a lot of the time. He's useful in so many different sites and so many different situations. I hope you took something from the video, and if you would, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything and it makes me day, so thank you if you do. Just another thank you to those who continue to watch and like and comment, and those who have subscribed recently. Welcome to the channel. I really appreciate you getting involved. As I said earlier on, if there's an operator you want, get it in the comments below and I'll add it on the list to do next. So a massive cheers for watching as always, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.